Good afternoon. Welcome to Sabbath Session Podcast. Today I have Jess, the Canadian folk lifter. Right? For anybody that don't know what I mean by the Canadian folk lifter, this young lady, she hold the IPF deadlift world record at 261.5 kilos. Right? 261.5 kilos. Most men can't even do that. But Jess can. How you doing, Jess?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Good, 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 good. How's your day going so far?
My day going, I saw my job in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's pretty hot outside, so that's cool.
Good, good, good. So I know you've. I'm gonna start straight away. I know you've made a big move from, of course, from Canada to Indiana. I know it's two countries that are very close to each other, but in terms of like now you live in America, of course, it's not easy. How you finding your training, work, and everything around us? Because I'm sure in Canada you did build some sort of like a process of habit, but now that you have to change that, that you are away. How you finding that?
Well, actually, I'm not, like, not, I'm pharmacy licensed here. I'm just visiting because Canadians are allowed to visit for up to 6 months. I actually am licensed in Michigan, and I'm going to use that to branch out into other states. It's kind of a really complicated process, actually. So I'm a pharmacist, in Canada, and um, that is a. I liked my job, but it was super, super hectic, and actually, that was really hard to train doing that because I would be working 10 days in a row, and you're standing on your feet all day, and it's pretty rough. And then I was also like, I had to rent my house out, and I had a bunch of life shit going on. So my training back in Canada was actually pretty rough. But now that I've come here and I'm just studying, doing licensure stuff, um, trying to get job offers, I have a lot of more time to train. So it's actually awesome. And plus, I have like a really, I have like a competitive powerlifting gym to train at, Circle City Strength here. And that part has just been awesome because it's been a long time since I've been around so many strong people in a gym community. Like Rise Back Home has a lot of strong people, but I'm never there when anyone else is there. I'd be lifting like super late and then be sad. So it's really been a nice change to come
That's
here and have
good.
a chance to train. And yeah.
Change of environment is always good sometimes. No matter what you're doing, when you change environment, you're always going to pick up positive out of it. I was looking at your Q&A yesterday, right? There was a question I picked up. I want to ask you that question live. I see your reaction to it, right? The question
Uh-oh.
is, right, let's start. I'm sure you probably know what the question is because you didn't even respond. It was just your reaction that said to me, like, she's probably thinking, like, what the fuck? And the question was, do you think it's okay for white people to use the N word?
I mean, obviously not. Like, I was just like, what? No,
When I saw that question,
bruh.
when I saw that question, I said to myself, I will start the podcast tomorrow with this one, just asking her, do you think it's all right for white people to use the N word? I think that's a good introduction right there, especially you're in America.
Obviously, that person doesn't think so because they asked it from a burner account and they didn't say the word. They said N word. So that's why it's not okay to say.
It's true. It's true. It's true. Anyway, going back to this one, just I know, of course, you've been in the sport for quite a while. You know, you've won multiple world championship. You held a lot of world records, along the way in the process. So, me, the question to always ask, I look at your, I know the listener will be thinking, why is June talking about this? I look at your physique. I look at you as a woman. I'm thinking, what the fuck is she doing in powerlifting? She can be doing anything. She has got the physique to be a model in anything. So why powerlifting?
I just love powerlifting and Um, I got into it and I just fell in love with the sport from the beginning. I kind of slowly transitioned. I was doing track and field at the same time, but um, I love lifting weights and body. Like I've always get asked if I'm gonna do bodybuilding or something like that, and it's just not the same for me. I don't like the training as much. It's just not as fun trying to hit a bunch of reps at something, like bicep curls, or I just don't get the same satisfaction out of it, you know? Um, I do enjoy other sports recreationally, but um, I just have to build upon the strength I've been building for so long. I can't stay away from it.
I mean, it's a bug, you know. You catch the bug and you don't want to go anymore. You know what I mean? It stays. You know what I mean? You don't want to move anymore. But again, one of the things that I was looking at your Open IPF, you're only 28 years old, and you started in 2014. So that's a long time. That's 10 years of your life. How did you remain to be this consistent? Because there's no, longevity is not. Look, don't get me wrong, we have got people like Kimberly Warford and some of the legends that's still around. But powerlifting is not a sport that people stay around for a very long time. So how did you manage to stay around this long?
Yeah, you're right. Typically not. I'd say a lot of it has to do with just also having type 1 diabetes and needing the consistency of working out quite often.
Mm.
Um, so lifting weights has always been that for me. So I always just thought I might as well be powerlifting. And even times when I'm not strictly competing, because I've taken longer and longer breaks in the last few years between competitions, but even when I'm not doing that, I'm still lifting weights. I'm still doing lots of outdoor stuff and staying active in it. A lot of the strength that you've built, it's surprising how much stays when you just kind of do the bare minimum to keep it going.
So, I mean, again, right, this is one of the things that I always ask all my guests this question, because especially people like yourself and me in terms of a longevity, what would you tell a young lifter? Because the reality is we all seen it as the juniors and sub juniors, they have got this label that people always say, okay, yeah, they're pushing so hard now in the next 5 years, and so they won't be around anymore. So you are someone that's been around, you know, that started as a junior, let's just say, because you started at 18, if I'm right, and now you're still around. What advice would you give these young people?
I mean, I did that dumb stuff all the time when I was younger. My workout for deadlifts, I used to just deadlift 405 once a week as many times as I could for like, and I did that for like a year when I started.
Mm.
Um, which is like pure exhaustion, and then I would do it again for like 5 sets, which is just not practical. Because I didn't have a coach when I started either. I was just messing around. But my advice would be to number one, not get discouraged looking at social media because strength really is a function of strength training over time. And you gotta, and we always see these outliers on social media as well. And it's really not as common as you think when you actually compete in powerlifting. And then the other thing is that for the juniors, pushing yourself super hard is not sustainable. And it will, if you start, how you know that you can't get away with pushing yourself that hard all the time is you start getting injuries.
Mhm.
That's your indicator. And
Mhm.
also, I think some mental fatigue as well. But I think the main thing is the physical. Like when you start getting injured or have nagging injuries, that's how you know that your training is not optimal. Because when you're a junior, I think you can actually push yourself pretty hard, but there is a time limit to it for sure.
So basically, is that almost like I always say this to me? I always said, enjoy the process rather than rushing the process,
But
right?
yeah, for sure.
Because
Patience is
breaking
key.
records, breaking boundaries is not something that is deemed as success. Success is not measured by the record you're breaking. Success is measured by how long you've been around and what you have achieved. Do you know what I mean? So again, like going back to that longevity, is, of course, as you said, like you have a job, a full-time job, and you have got a sport. And we always say to people around, especially uni students or whatever across the board, we always say, look, the life you have now is different when you have go adult life. It means like you have
Yeah.
to pay bills, mate. You don't pay your bills, they kick you out of the house. Do you know what I mean? You have to pay for your dog, what vet. Do you know what I mean? No one will do that for you. So how do you actually manage these two? Because I mean, I got different answers across the board when I ask this question. How do you manage your normal day-to-day life and powerlifting?
Uh, it is tough, you know. I had to decrease the amount of days a week that I worked out just because on it used to be 5 and I when I'm working full time I decreased it to 4 because I find I just can't quite get that fifth day in. I start getting so tired because I work a lot of days in a row.
Mm,
Um and this is so I've always done that, and then I try really hard to stay hydrated and eat a lot of like eat good quality food and like prep my food so I actually bring it to work because that's huge because as pharmacists don't always get breaks during the day,
mm.
so it can get pretty difficult that way. So those are the two things that have made the biggest difference. I am bad at sleeping. Like I purposely sometimes choose to train instead of sleep well, which is controversial, but I make peace with it if I'm not doing that all the time. Hence the 4 days instead of 5 or 6. So it is what it is.
So I mean, especially like yourself, right? One of the things that I always like, literally like, I love and admire is the fact that, of course, you're openly about this. You're diabetic, and all of these things goes around there. Is almost like your way of life is different from me and everybody else because you have got a condition that you have to control. So my question leading to that is how did you filter this into this life? Because again, this is strength sports life and the normal day-to-day life, and being diabetic, it's not easy. Do you know what I mean? How do you manage that? Because I know there's things like you do that you have to do on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, or on a weekly basis. If you don't do them, this will happen. How do you juggle all that?
I guess when I became diabetic, which was at the age of 11, so quite a while ago, I just never accepted that I would have to quit a sport or not do an activity because of it. And I've always just tried to work around it instead of just giving up. And I think that adds a lot of meaning and significance to things that you do when they are more difficult.
Mhm,
For powerlifting, be having type 1 diabetes is definitely not it's not a good sport
mhm,
to be diabetic in, really. Like it's not one of the worst, but it's adrenaline based. So if you know anything about diabetes, there's sports like soccer, hockey, where they're mostly aerobic. So it's more predictable usually. Like you might get an initial spike from running, but eventually it'll just go down, and then you'll just have to eat. Your sugars go down in response to exercise when you do those types, and you
mhm,
just have to eat sugar or something periodically to keep it balanced. But for powerlifting, it's really hard because it's adrenaline based, and then also the weight cuts as well if you do that. So with the adrenaline, you get super amped up, and all these stress hormones get released, and your sugars go up really unpredictably.
mhm,
So it's not the greatest sport as far as the competitions go, to be diabetic in, but I'm just naturally, obviously, I'm naturally strong, and I just always, I don't know, I could never just leave that opportunity based on the fact that sometimes it would be difficult. Because even training sometimes it's a little bit hard, but I've gotten it down to a good routine, and that's all it really is as far as having type 1 is you just develop these little routines like daily, but also little mini routines before you go to the gym to help
mhm,
your sugars stay balanced. And then it's just a matter of working around what you want to do.
yeah. I think it's all about. I mean, I think, of course, I
Yeah.
can't relate on this one again because I'm no pharmacist and I don't know nothing about diabetic at all. So, but one thing I could say is like anything in life, when you build those controls around it makes your life a little bit
Mhm.
easier. So, because I know there's people that will be listening to us, they'll probably be thinking like, oh yeah, I'm in the same situation, but I can't do this, I can't do that. How can I do this? So It's just having those control and having that almost that streamlined steps of what to do. My next question will be to you is, of course, this is powerlifting. We're talking about powerlifting, and of course, Jess, you've been in some of the biggest competition in your life. I mean, in powerlifting that can offer, all the way up to the pinnacle, which is Sheffield. You've done it. Today you can retire,
Mhm.
you'll be happy because I've done Sheffield. What else can I do? I'm a multiple-time world champion. Don't need anything. At one point, Jess was flirting around getting to 84 kilos. What happened?
I wanted to do that this year, but I just wasn't able to train and eat consistently enough, like just due to stress, honestly, for the first part of the year. Because it's not a process that you want to just do like 8 weeks out. You want to really build into that. And I didn't give myself that opportunity this year. It would have been too hard. I had too many things on my plate. I had too many things that made gaining weight in a constructive way for powerlifting like pretty hard. So just like with my job and then trying to move out of my trying to rent my house out, um, that was an insane process. And then coming here and all the travel and the transition, it didn't really give me a good base to keep gaining weight in the best way. So I just thought my result would probably be the same in either weight class. So I might as well stay 76.
I mean, come on. How can you not stay 76? That's probably one of the biggest battle in powerlifting. You want to
That's
be.
true. However, I am gonna disagree. I think so. It is now, but I think there's gonna be some jumping around, and I think we're gonna see the 84s. We're gonna see we're due, like maybe not quite this year, but maybe next or the one after. We're due for like a really big battle in that weight class because there's some up and comers.
Look, I agree with you 100%. Amanda Lawrence, I love Amanda Lawrence. She's amazing. She's fantastic. When we're talking about the outliers that you said earlier, she's one of the outliers. You know what I mean? On that weight
Mhm.
class. She needs someone. Do you know what I
She
mean?
needs somebody. Yeah.
She needs someone. Someone need to show up. Someone that need to show up that will make Amanda think about what pool am I gonna my next attempt will be. Do you know what I mean? Can I just load 250 squat whenever I want, however I want? Do you know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean?
know.
You need someone to do that. So again, like exciting. Of course, you going down to 76. I watch your Texas mate. Yeah, woman. How the fuck did you want to try and pull sumo?
I was so sad that the live stream cut out because everyone thought I was super injured, but I really just I started with a 500-pound opener trying sumo in Texas, and I pulled it, but it was just up and down. It was really goofy, and then my hips hurt. So I just thought to myself, my back hurts now. Not too bad, but pretty bad. I could switch to conventional, but I just thought it was a very bad idea.
Yeah, it was very, very bad because
It
I
was very, very bad.
because I said to myself, you could have pulled conventional, like basically what Ashton does. What Ashton does that he started with one movement and finished with the other. I said to myself, you could have started with conventional, which is your best move. You start with that, and you can finish with sumo because that is just a try. Do you know what I mean? It works, it works, it doesn't work. But when I saw you like sumo, I was like, is this real? Do you know what I mean? But rather than that, I think the way the meet was run and everything else, you had fun. You know,
I
you had.
did have fun, and it wasn't the best prep either. Like I just so I wasn't really. That being said, like my sumo was actually coming along, but I got in the comp and then I just like I don't like doing it in competition. It was just hard to find the groove.
So you
And then if
forget.
you lose that with sumo, you're just done. Like you can't do anything. So really you gotta be really locked in for that.
So you forget how
And
to sumo when you come to the competition. You did forget.
basically, yes, I just forgot how to sumo just instantly. And then it just, yeah, I just kind of like hurt my back a little bit. Not too bad, but like it is
Is
what it is.
Is this something that you want to try again?
No, absolutely not. Um, I it was my first competition I ever bombed out of, and it was on deadlift of all things. So absolutely not. Um, I think there's use for it in the gym because it's a lot easier on the lower back, and I can move a lot of volume with it, but I can't do it to comp standards very well. So I don't think it's something that'll ever be useful for me in a competition.
It helps. It helps. I mean, sumo helps save your back for a bigger squat. Do you know what I mean? So it does.
Yeah, it does.
I'm sure like a lot of 76 that will be listening to us now, they'll probably be thinking, oh man, we thought she's gone sumo. They'll be celebrating for that gold medal in Lithuania. But anyway, moving on from that. So now I know you've qualified for Lithuania because I know you did, of course, Sheffield in 2023. Potentially, if I'm right to say it, probably was not the best mate that you are happy with. Am I right to say that? Because I could say, tell in your expression that she's not too happy with this mate. What happened?
Honestly, I wasn't unhappy with Sheffield. It just was not the 76 kilo class was probably the hardest one if you were going to go and try to win Sheffield because Carlina had just raised the record by so much in
Yeah,
order to get there. But by doing that, she made it hard not only for me and Agatha, but also herself to do well at Sheffield
yeah.
by raising that record so high. So I just going into it, it was just I kind of just knew that it wasn't going to be that on the list of everybody, I wasn't going to rank that high just because of that. And I wasn't unhappy with how things went. I still deadlifted, I think, 255.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it would have been, it was a tough, I knew going in, it was a tough situation. So I just decided like, we're going to have fun and we're going to make the best out of this.
Yeah,
And I think Igata was the same as well.
because I mean, you experienced that, right? You experienced Sheffield on the platform, and of course, you went to the World Championship in Malta, and you missed Sheffield this year. Did you watch Sheffield this year?
Oh yeah. So actually I think that's a testament of how hard the 76 kilo class was in 2023 is Agata, I think what did her and I place? I don't even like 10th and 11th. And then the next year she went down a weight class and increased her total and then won the whole thing. So that's awesome. I love to see that. I love to see that. And you know what? I have out of everybody, I always her and Leah, I have such faith in both of them. Just knowing Agata's not that I don't have faith in everybody else, but like I've just seen Agata do some of the
Oh, you can be
craziest
honest. It's
things.
fine. This is a safe place, Jess. You can be honest. It's fine.
It's the same place.
Yeah.
But I've just seen Agata do like some of the craziest things. Like she'll do competitions pretty much back to back and she lifts a clip and she does 6 SBD days a week. There's no anyone who underestimates that is an idiot.
Yeah. And again, as well, you and Agatha, you have got a history. You know what I mean? Especially, I mean, South Africa, I was there. On that last 261.5 kilo, I was even I wasn't even there, I was in the background. No, I was right in the warm-up room, right? And we all saw what Agatha did when you came out to pull it. You know, sometimes people talk about sport, and I know I think she's won an award for it. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people were trying to replicate
Yeah.
win a war, it's not going to happen anymore. I got to stand that. Do you know what I mean? So that's history right there. So in terms of what you said, that you always have faith. I'm sure if you ask Agatha, she was to say exact same thing. She always have faith on that Jessica Buettner deadlift. When it's loaded, when she's locked in, you're fucked. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And she knows it. I would just ask you, like, I know we haven't spoken since that moment. I know social media spoke about it. You spoke about it in some of the podcasts as well, with Ryan. I'm just want to ask you about at that moment, that minute when you stepped out that platform, when you watched those three white light, and the first person that was there to congratulate you was Agata. How did that made you feel? And this is the person you knew. I just beat her with that pull.
That was a really special moment. I also I had heard and someone showed me a video that she was clapping for me, which was just really like it was very heartwarming. And I always liked her from day one. She's got this energy, and you can tell like she's got this energy about her that's very likable, and she knows she's strong, but she's not like I don't know, she's not in your face about it. But that was a really it was a really special moment all around, honestly.
It was one of them ones. I mean, I think even the people that see us watch it, it's just thinking, hang on, if she pulls that, she beats you. She goes like, yeah, I don't care. This is history. It has to be made. Why not? You know, and I'll be proud of it. And I always say this. I think it happened to me many times with Anna. Right? Every time, like I'm a squatter, I will squat, I will bench, I'll get my second thing or my first and second deadlift. You know, and he would just be watching me, be like, you know, you're done, right? I'll be like, yeah, I know. You already, it's almost like Jess, it's almost you deadlifters, right? People like us, it's almost like you're powerless. What can you do? I just sit there and unload 380 or 385 and just pull it. I just go like, wow, okay, there's nothing you can do. All you can do is give him a hug and clap it. That's it. Do you know what
I
I mean?
know. The energy in the room watching him deadlift is nuts.
You know, it's
Crazy.
crazy, you know, it's crazy. So in terms of like you spoke about energy there, like you as deadlifters, this is what I want to draw from you. And I've asked this question before as well. Because you know you're the biggest puller in your weight class, you're the last person that come and pull. Let's not talk about where you're gonna place. Talk about just that moment, right? That psychological moment where you're coming in and saying, "This is the last pull of my weight class." What goes on into your mind?
I'm always mad at myself. I'm just angry. I'm almost like pre-angry at the idea that if I don't get it, I'm gonna be so mad. It's a strange place to be in, but there's just no room for anything other than getting hyped up and putting all the force you can
Hmm.
into the ground and into ripping the bar off the ground. It's I try to get as hyped up as possible, like for my nervous system, like I can feel it, and then
Is it
you
just
just have
like
to.
I'm just gonna have to pull this?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have. You just have to pull it. That's it. You just got to pull it, and if you don't, well, big deal. But um,
Because
you just got to
it
do
must
it.
because it must be already. I mean, I don't know about you, but is it not that little bit of no pressure, which is a privilege, which is really good to have that pressure. When you're coming out, you know, I'm the last person to pull. The whole arena or the whole place is standing up and watching. It's me. It's me. Basically, I'm the strongest puller here to do that. You know, and some people can't, some people don't know how to navigate that pressure. That pressure can be detrimental to some. Thinking, oh my God, I'm the strongest one here. If I miss, what would the perception be? You know, has it ever happened to you to think in terms of that perception of the others if you miss? Or is it just like, oh, I'm just going to be mad at myself. If I don't pull this, I'm going to go on hunger strike.
Uh, honestly, it's like I mean, there's time for that before the competition. It's stressing about that, but in the moment, there's no time for any of that. I usually do better when people are watching me lift, like even in the gym, just because it gets me hyped up that the pressure of somebody watching. It's like, well, I can't fuck this up now. Um, because there's these people watching me, and I know my friends and family are too, so I'm like, I can't let them down. But other than that, like,
I mean,
there's just
because
no room.
I, at one point you had the biggest deadlift in history. How did your family reacted to that?
Oh, that's super awesome. I don't know if they really, I mean, they understood that fact, but um, they were super proud of me. They were super proud of me, and I had a lot of friends that were just like so floored that I could do that. I was too, because I didn't think I could going into the competition, I didn't think I could lift that much that day. So
So you got that extra through the energy of the crowd as well, because that crowd in South Africa, Jesus, you
they
know.
were crazy. It was awesome. I mean, on the day of, I thought I could, but going into the competition, I thought my max was definitely like no more than 260. Like, um, but on the day of, it was different for sure. But no, my family was super happy and um, they were very proud of me.
So when you went home, right, because you knew you had that pull in you, you go home, and did you change anything in your training with Eric, or is this something that Eric, right? That's your coach, isn't it? Eric Hams.
Actually, I've been doing, I hesitate to say my own programming for the past while, just because my life was so crazy. I was like, "Ah, I'm just not even sticking to the dates and anything. So I just decided to do it for myself and we'll see how that plays out for me. But yeah, Eric was coaching me up until that point and after as well. And we changed a lot of things going into that meet and then going forward into Sheffield. We actually did a lot of the same things, maybe with just a bit less intensity.
Because I mean, I'm sure coming out of a pool like that, to maintain a pool like that is because people don't realize how hard
Yeah.
it is to maintain big lifts like that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's almost like you go back to the drawing board, think, oh, what did I do well in this program that can incorporate needing food? So sometimes it's just maintenance. You know, you're not looking to add more kilos on that pool. Can I just maintain
You
that
know
pool?
what?
Scump.
I fully lost the momentum on that one because I just like that was like one of the I knew at the moment I did it that it was one of the absolute best moments of my powerlifting career. I knew it at that moment. And after when I went home, it was really tough because I just had no competition scheduled and I was kind of sad because I did something so incredible that it was hard to stay motivated and I took time off. I fully lost that momentum, but by the time Sheffield came around, I got some of it back. But yeah, it is really difficult to keep up that momentum and I think the momentum on good deadlifts like that, or not just good deadlifts, but great deadlifts takes a long time to build, longer than people think.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So now, like, world is coming, Jess. You're gonna be in Lithuania, so hopefully I can
Hmm.
that face-to-face interview because I'm gonna do that in Lithuania, right? On that last pool,
Absolutely.
because you'll be the last person to come and pull. Can you promise me that?
I can promise you that.
Good girl. So when you pull that last deadlift, because you're gonna pull it, and I'm gonna do my interview after, right? So
Okay.
you're going to Lithuania now. What is the plan for Lithuania? Because I look at the nomination, of course, great names like Carlina is there. Of course, there is Agatha as always. You know, she's not leaving you alone, even though you're trying to breathe a little bit. She's not giving you that breathing room. She's there, and of course, there's yourself. There is the newcomer from America. I don't know if I don't want to butcher her name. I think is it what Krenan?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't met her, but I think that's
Yeah, I
how
think
you
that
say it.
Joey's lifter. So Krenan is there. Of course, there is the lack of Sophia Ellis and the rest. So what's the plan now for Lithuania? This is going to be again. I know we mentioned about the 76 in of course Sheffield being difficult, but the 76 now is turning out to be just like the 69 in Sheffield. But this time is a world. Are you excited about
Yeah,
with that?
I am excited about it. I'm excited to see how it plays out. So I think Agata's coming off a lower weight class, so I think she's gonna get more kilos on her total. Carlina's been consistent at getting over 600 kilo totals. So should probably be around she'll probably put a few kilos on there too. So honestly, it's looking like for me, unless either one of those two have like a particularly bad day, it'll be a probably pretty close battle for third place, which is something as long as I've been in the sport and I've won two open world championships and two as a junior, that's something that is awesome to say, honestly.
Like, women, that's a full world title. Do you know what I mean?
Four
Uh,
world titles. And like to be in a place where we're this competitive where I'm now just like battling it out for bronze, that's awesome. That's exactly what I would have wanted to see when we started the sport, that kind of competitiveness. Because it's really come up so far since I started. And I love that.
I mean, for world title, I think you're probably one of them, one of the two or three women in IPF that can say that currently lifting. Of course, Kimberly is a goat. I can't even count Kimberly's world titles. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I don't have enough fingers. Um, there is, of course, Joy Namani that has got four world title as well, and there is you.
Yes.
So that's huge right there because there's one thing that people always forget. It's in 2019, 2018, 2017, or 2015, powerlifting existed. People just
Yep.
see powerlifting now, right? People seeing the Agates, the Gustav, of course, the Perkins now, the Ross. But people forgetting in 2018 we had the Gibbs, 2019 we had the Jessica Buettner. Do you know what I mean? All of these guys existed and they did things at that time that people are that for they were unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? So to me, it's exciting to see the progress and the journey so far and where it's going. So again, as you said, 76 is going to be really, really, really competitive. That battle for third is going to be tough. The top two outliers in there where I get it because the only reason we can only say this sitting here is because we've seen their previous performance, right? Calling a 6'10", that's what we said. It's so hard to maintain a bigger lift or a bigger total. It's not an easy thing
Mhm.
to do. But as anybody else that's coming thinking, oh, I can beat a 6'10".
It's pretty crazy. If I could just bench like 10 kilos more, I'd be so much closer.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
15 kilos,
So,
but
I mean,
I'm working on it.
it's coming. I've been seeing the training. It's coming. Even the squat is coming. Even your
It's
long
coming.
your long femurs are getting shorter every single week. So hopefully, one before we get
Yeah,
to where there, you get even shorter.
exactly.
Oh gosh. So just in terms of like the training itself, is there anything you've changed leading to this one?
Uh, I went back to, I guess, 5 days a week, and um, I have just been doing more little like mini deloads.
Hmm.
I like deloading with lots of a fair amount of volume, especially on bench, and lower intensity instead of doing both, which I find to be super productive. Um, but other than that, I'm not sure. I don't even have it in my mind what I was doing before. It's probably fairly similar, but I've just been paying very close attention to how my body feels. Because I really want to avoid a back tweak, and I always seem to have a little back tweak somewhere in there if I'm pushing myself too hard. So cross your fingers for me, but so far it's been okay.
Don't worry. I did my fingers and my toes, so you'll be fine. Because I
Sounds good. I feel safe.
So again, as you said, you've gone 5 days. Have you increased the frequency on the main lift or you've added things like of course accessories or build a bench because women you can't bench. I know I can't talk about benching, but yeah, you
It's
can't bench.
it's tough. I we'll see. I mean, the cut always takes every time I get momentum on bench, the cut always takes a lot out of it, which is so it just I always expect that my bench will not be as good as I want it to be. Um it's been a long time since I got a bench PR. My bench is like 107 in competition, and I've benched more than that in training, but it's hard with my long arms and positioning, and the weight cut changes my positioning. It's not as hard for squat and deadlift, to be honest with you,
How
but
much
it is
how
what
much
it is.
how much weight do you cut?
Oh, so I usually try to get within
Before
5%.
you respond to that, I've heard rumors saying Jessica Britton will walk around 85.
I sometimes, yeah,
Oh, it's,
Not normally.
so it's true
Not
then.
normally. Normally I walk around at like 82.
Okay, okay.
So it's not quite that bad. But I do get that heavy sometimes, but that's on purpose. Um no, I usually so I what I try to do is I try to get within 5% of my competition, like 76, 5% of 76 kilos. So I try not to cut more than about 4 kilos. Um, so I'm sitting right around there now. I think I'm like 178 pounds and I need to be 176 to be within that range.
So when you say you do on purpose, do you is it was it that the incentive of you thinking about potentially going 84?
Sorry, what do you mean?
I said because you said you do on purpose, was it that the same incentive that you thought, okay, do you know what? I'm just gonna go 84 because if I can easily walk around 80, 82 kilos, then why not do 84?
Yeah, I just let my weight fluctuate a little bit higher to gain strength. Because that's definitely the best way to do it. And I always see better success if I let myself go like actually bulk for a while. And then if I can cut and keep my cuts short, it tends to have a lot better results as far as maintaining strength in the competition. If I try to weigh too close to 76 for too long, I'm just not gonna build strength. I'm gonna be barely hanging on to it, which is kind of like what happened with Sheffield in 2023. Is I was just trying to stay too light for too long. We still maintained strength really well, and I was super happy with how it ended up. But it's definitely not the best way for me.
I mean, the thing is that I mean, I can't talk about weight, I can't talk about food because I can't even eat. Do you know what I mean? So I had to employ Kedrick to come and tell me what to eat. Do you know what I mean? Now finally,
Oh,
two
and
2 years later, I'm finding it in 83. You know what I mean? So I'm literally like every other 83 in the world, walking around 85, 86 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So before I used to walk around 80, 79 sometime 81. Do you know what I mean? Because I couldn't eat. So, but now I kind of get what you mean in terms of like the more weight you put on, of course, you gain more. I mean, I can testify that in terms of my performance and total across the board. I mean, going to this World Championship, of course, we mentioned about the Battle of the 76. I would just plain blank ask you this question. What do you think the winning total will be?
I think the winning total will be about 615. And it could be either Carlina or Agata.
615. So, because again, I think we spoke about this in the beginning.
Well, actually, let me back it up. I think worlds, you know how everyone gets like it's nerve-wracking and you're trying to do the absolute minimum you can to win. So maybe a little bit less than that when I think about it.
So, 611?
Yeah, I think about that because I think either one of Carlina or Agata will try to get a new world record. So yeah, anywhere from that 610 to 615 range would be my prediction.
Yeah.
I think Agata is honestly capable in the next. I don't know if it would be now, but in the next couple of years of hitting like, she has the highest potential of hitting some absolutely huge numbers of increasing that the furthest. But Carlina's training has been going super well as well. So
I think
right now, I think they're probably on pretty even footing coming off of the weight cut for Agata. So we'll see.
I have Carolina coming on Sunday. My plan was to have you three at the same time.
At
But
the same time, that's bad because everyone gets really shy.
exactly, I mean, it's me. You know what I mean? I will clean that shyness off your face. Do you know what I mean? So I really wanted to get you three at the same time, but what killed is the time zone. The time zone just messed up. Do you know what I mean? She's on the other side of the world.
Oh yeah, because Carlina's in New Zealand and
Yeah, so that's what
um
killed it. But I'm gonna be
yes.
having her here on Sunday. But I think you're right in terms of like, I think we spoke about this. Sometimes you push the intro. Do you think? Let me revert this question. Do you think the introduction of Sheffield have taken that credibility away from the World Championships?
No, I don't think that at all, actually. I think what Sheffield has done is, in particular for the women, has become this huge motivator. Because what we're seeing is we're seeing so many more world records get broken for the women, and it's finally pushing the competitiveness to more of an equal footing as to what the men's is. Because there's always been, up until recently, like way more men that powerlift. So it's always been more competitive on the men's side. But lately, we are seeing the women's side catch up in the best way
Mm.
because of Sheffield. And I think that only adds to the world championships because you're also like in order to get to Sheffield, you still have to win your weight class. So I don't think it takes away from it at all. I think certain lifters, like very few, have the privilege of kind of picking and choosing um, which weight classes they can do, like for the men's and everything. So it might change some things, but um, I don't think it takes away at all. I think it adds a lot.
What about because again, because the reason I asked that question is, as we mentioned here, at the World Championship, people intend to do the bare minimum to win, right? And
Hmm.
the bare minimum to win means do not push, right? Not pushing means don't break world record because at Sheffield that's 5 grand. This is why I asked this question. Almost like
True.
we are not getting the fire that we deserve a world anymore. You know, someone like Jesus, if Jesus doesn't have a competitor, do you think Jesus is going to push? He might get one squat, one bench, one deadlift, and he said, I'm done. I'm going to Sheffield. Do you know what I mean?
True. I see what you're saying there, but I think in reality, when there's close battles, you have to push anyways. And when I say the minimum you need to win, I meant more in the sense that you're saving, you're like, I think there's an extra level of caution at Worlds because if you overshoot one lift, you might lose the championship. I don't mean in the sense of um the minimum you need to win
Or be,
because of
or
Sheffield.
be
It's
conservative.
a factor, I guess, but I mean, I think still with those world records being, I guess, yeah, it takes away from it does take away from, I don't think the competition at Worlds necessarily, but the breaking of world records at the actual world championships, it does take away from that.
Yeah.
I will
And
agree with you there.
that's the adrenaline, that people want to see. You know what I mean? That's the
Mm.
excitement, I mean, if you're put in that position, Jess, in Lithuania where you have to pull to break that world record or pull just to win, what would you do? Would you pull to win or would you pull to break the world record?
Uh,
Let's say if you pull 265, you win, but you have got top end of 270. Would you pull 265 and save it for Sheffield?
uh, well, I mean, 265 would be that's a bad example because 265 would also be a world record.
No, I'm saying
So I
like
would
if
pull
you
265.
pull 255 for you 55, no 65, 55 for you
Oh,
to win.
255.
Yeah, but your top end.
255 to
So
win for sure. Winning a world championship is always better than getting a world record if you have the chance. I mean, a world record is super cool, but at the same time, winning worlds remains an absolutely huge deal.
so you value a title more than the record.
Absolutely. Because no one's really like, I mean, they look up who has the record, and you can say you have the record, but that will eventually get broken. But your world title will not. It will never be broken. You always have that with you.
I'm gonna ask you that question again in Lithuania when you're gonna load for that world record. I will. I will be. I'll ask you that question again. I said, Jess, okay, you remember what you said? So yeah, I mean, again, of course, you're going to Lithuania is going to be exciting, and I'm so excited about it. It will be one of the biggest world championship we've ever had, and of course, it's so important this world championship that people don't actually realize some of them. To those who are not listening to us, is Lithuania is a battleground for people to qualify for Sheffield and the World Games. So, Jess, what's the plan here for you leading to this one? Is it go to the World Championship, do as much as I can? If I get a Sheffield wild card, great, but the priority is the World Games, which means you have the podium.
I think I would have to. I think I would have to compete in 84 to qualify for World Games, would I not?
Why 84? Why not 76?
Well, I think isn't that the
Top
rules?
three. Top three of each weight class qualify.
Oh, well, for me, it's the World Games qualification then. Obviously, it's always the podium
Yeah, top
is the
three of
goal.
every world class of every weight class qualify for the World Games, but it's done by, of course, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. I think the 76 they are together with the 69. They will be on the same.
Okay.
So basically, you're not gonna if you qualify for the World Games, you're going up against Leah, Carola, Agatha, and of course Carolina and any other 69 that will qualify third. So you six will go up against each other. It's almost again, as I said, Agatha is not going anywhere. She's still there.
Yeah, exactly.
She's still there. She might just move close to you because she's not letting you go. I mean, yeah, the aim is like world grand qualification. What about Sheffield? Have you ever thought about probably pushing as much and getting that wild card, or even winning? Why not winning? I know Agatha and Carlin are there, but why not?
Oh, honestly, that would take it's percentage of world record. So 76 and 84 would be the two weight classes I could do. It would be so hard to actually win Sheffield in either of those two weight classes. Um,
Oh,
Again, like especially for me as well with my bench. So Sheffield, honestly, I was pumped to be able to get to do it in the um in 2023, but I that's it's not really a priority for me because it's not um like it's a tough if you're looking at the numbers, I would have to be I have to PR my total by like 40 kilos in order to like win Sheffield in 76, and then 84 is a tough one because Amanda Lawrence. Um and that would take a while. So Sheffield's not really it's not really a goal for me, to be honest with you.
it's the way that it's structured. It doesn't favor other people. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yes.
what I always said, but it's always good to be part of that. You know what I mean? That environment, always to be part of the pack, being part of the team that is a Sheffield is always good. Because some people they
Yeah.
always ask this question, oh, this person will win. I was like, yeah, but the way it's structured is almost impossible for that weight class to win. And especially the world records level. When you look at the 69, the three of them came one, two, three. It's because look where that world record was. Do you know what I mean? And look at where they've taken it. And if we look at the other weight classes, the heavier weight, like the 76, the 84, the 84 plus, these world records total are really high, you know? And someone
Yes.
for Lawrence to win there, she will probably need what? A 670? You know what I mean? 670, 80. You know, that's huge. So the good thing Sheffield has done for me, I like, is it almost has balanced these world records across the weight classes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The balance is we can see it. I know the 63 is still a little bit behind compared to where the 69 is now. Do you know what I mean? So that balance
Yes.
now, women's side, we can see across the board. On the men's side, hopefully, we can see that balance coming up next year because with especially with the Americans are coming in, they're talking about sweeping. So if they sweep world, they go to Sheffield and they sweep Sheffield, where are we might just last bit outside because they're sweeping the room. So you can't get, when my mom was sweeping the living room, I can't stay in the living room. So the American coming to sweep, so I just stay outside.
They have a really good chance of doing that actually,
100%,
which
100%, you know,
which
100%.
is crazy.
So how because I know there's all these things they're talking about. We should probably have another meet of the USA, the American visit the rest of the world. Me, what grinds my gears when I hear that, I'm thinking that I did not think about Canada. Why can't we just say North America? Canada have got listeners as well, you know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you're forgetting that Jess exists, and you know, there's Brittany, there's King Cuff, There's Nick Mann, there's Bryce. These are Canadians and they're very good lifters. They don't know this. You know what I mean? So how do you Canadians, how do you feel when you hear the conversation like that? Especially coming from Ryan and King of the Lift. I was like, bro, you're Canadian, man.
I know. It's funny because like uh I always joke, I'm like, oh my IPF homies hate America. But I feel like the rest of the world, Americans don't see it, but they just trigger everyone just a little bit because, and it's not even like a lot of things that they say are unwarranted. It's just almost like, it's just very in your face. I don't know how to describe it.
You know what?
Um,
Let me help you out here. I was talking to Delaney, right? Delaney said to me like, "Bro, you know why the rest of the you know why the rest of the world hate us American?" And I was like, "Is that even a question you're asking?" Bro, have you looked at yourself in the mirror when you're talking to you Americans are talking to people and ask yourself why people hate us?
I know,
Or
it's
maybe
funny.
hate is a strong word, but why people don't like us? Me, it's me is I put it down to the culture. Over there is a culture thing. You know what I mean? Their
I
culture.
get it's definitely a culture thing in like what's funny is Canadians are always stereotyped to be nice. I think Canadians are polite, but actually coming to, in particular, the Midwest of America, people are super nice and they're genuinely nice. But as soon as you get Americans out into other cultures, it's the attitude of our culture is better that just makes everyone so mad, and it's just inescapable, and it's always hilarious to me because um it's just like
But
it's
so because with Canadians, right?
yeah.
Country. Your country is the size of a bloody continent. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Same as their country. You know, the US is a big country. So when people talk about American and Canadians are almost excluded, I wonder how does that make you guys feel? Because I'm an African, right? When you talk about Africa without talking about Congo, even if I'm not part of that conversation, I'm on the train, I will get involved, right? I'll be like, mate, you forget one country in the center of Africa, Congo. They'll be like, what's that? I was like, wow, what a
You
rude
know,
cunt. Go and study your geography. So basically, I get mad about not talking about my country. How do you guys feel though?
I'm not even mad about it because although we have a lot of really strong lifters, like powerlifting in Canada is not the same as America. Like we, so power there's I have no doubt about why powerlifting in the US is so far above Canada, and it's because people in general just care more about it. They care more about sports in general. Like when we have less meets across the whole country of Canada than a lot of individual US states have in 1 month. So in the whole year, Canada will have less meets than like Florida or Texas has
Jesus.
in 1 month. So like it's no wonder there's just so much more involvement, there's so much more support, there's so much more funding for pretty much every single sport here. Um Not every single sport, but most sports in the USA. So I have no doubts, and Um, I'm not offended at all being left out of that conversation because although Canada, in a lot of ways, culturally is like America, not culturally, I guess, but it is America light version. I do feel it's
What you
different,
saying? So to put
and
words,
I'm not offended from being left out.
so to put words into your mouth, you're calling Canada America 2.0.
Not to know. I hate that. I like my
You
what
know what?
patriotism
I
I
think
have is like
that should be the
hates to
title.
say that. I
That
love Canada, but
should.
we're not on the same level when it comes to the passion for powerlifting. Like it's just not there's lots of amazing people involved in powerlifting, but the culture as a whole, like with the average person, not even people within powerlifting, because I think we have some honestly some of the most passionate people about powerlifting who are doing so much in certain areas of the country in Canada. But like I'm talking as a whole, the Canadian population, like they don't give a fuck about powerlifting. Like they don't understand it and don't really care about it. Versus it's different in America. Like if you say you're good at any sport, people have an insane respect for that. Which I've been recently experiencing. Like I go to the local gym at the YMCA here, and people are asking me like what I do because I was benching like 185 pounds. They're like trying to get me to stay at their gym because they know that I'm strong, which is, I mean, gym owners always do that, but there's just such a, the culture here is very tailored towards sports, more so than most other countries I've seen, and I've traveled to a lot of countries. It's just there's a very very high regard for any kind of success in sports here. And I think that's very key as to how they've done so well in powerlifting, especially because social media, it's like one of the easiest sports to watch little clips of since they're so short and everyone can catch on to it. Everyone can relate to squat, bench, and deadlift.
And
Um,
let not forget, they have 300 million.
yeah, they have such, there's so many, they have a lot of advantages as well, but a lot of those are earned. A lot of those are earned and not given. I will say, I have respect for that. I have a lot of respect for that.
Oh, mate. I mean, you see them on the platform, right? The desire they have, the anger. You can tell this is the person that's worked so fucking hard when I get it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You watch Jesus squatting, you watch even like Russell or Perks squatting. Look at the facial expression when that bar is bar loaded. You can tell that, oh, fucking hell, they want to have it all. Because they work hard for it. It's earned, it's not given. Don't get me wrong.
absolutely.
It's earned, it's not given. But say some of us is earned too. It's not given. Do you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, exactly. And I will say, like, as much as I have a lot of, as much as I still hate when I'm traveling. And as a Canadian, when you get confused for an American, you're immediately like, no, no, I'm not American. Because everyone overseas, like, you just, that is what I get offended at. It's getting
You know
confused
what?
for
I think
Americans.
you've said it yourself. America
They're like,
2.0.
no, I'm Canadian.
You said it yourself. America 2.0. Next time, just say no. I'm not American US, but American 2.0 Canada. So
No.
it, the thing is that with the nation, of course, when you see these things, of course, the things they're doing in America is tremendous in terms of sport. They start powerlifting. You see something on Perks telling you, "Oh, I started lifting at 13." You just go like, "Huh? What? 13? I was still bloody climbing trees at 13." Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what a barbell was, but you started that at 13, and now they are where they are. Do you know what I mean? It's just like you can't compare
Yeah,
yourself to that.
exactly. Exactly.
Um, I said like I see the Canadian um qualifying process for World last year or this year there was a little bit too much going on around left, right, and center. What's your views on it?
Um, we could definitely improve it. I mean, in Canada, you usually have to win, you have to win nationals in order to qualify to make it to Worlds, but our nationals have changed. They tried to make it, normally they were in March and then they switched it to fall, but now they're switching it back to March because there's been a change in leadership. Which I think is a good thing. But now there's been several different competitions you can use to qualify for Worlds, which is kind of uh, not ideal because then you can't compete against the other people. They can choose a different competition than um, so that they don't actually have to compete against each other. You're just competing for the best total, which is a bit different. And then I also think we could optimize it a bit more by considering the nationals total and how well each person would rank in their weight class at Worlds, instead of only picking each winner of each weight class. Because sometimes we have multiple people in a weight class that would place better than a winner of their weight class at
Mm.
nationals. So I know other countries use a system more like that What do you think of our Canadian system?
Oh, mate, as a Brit, right? Literally, I'm not gonna be an American 2.3, but or 3.0. All I'm saying is it's rubbish. You know what I mean? It's upsetting. Why am I saying that? Is because, for instance, look at what happened to Bryce. Do you know
Yeah,
how pissed off I will be? You know, if I was put in that situation. You know, again, at the same time, you need to be transparent to when you come to these selections, me, in a way like set, as we said, set controls are there for people to follow. Not just like, okay, you compete the Western and someone puts compete in the Eastern, you compete on different days, different time zones, you know what I mean, different areas, and then and the person, if you beat the toe by 0.5, you got the person stays. No, I think the federation
yeah.
should.
This year it was absolute chaos.
Yeah, this year was literally. I'm not talking about because of some of my favorite names or whatever they didn't make the team, but it's just like I look at, as you said, I look at the talent you guys have in Canada is growing. You need to almost like help the talent. I'm always an advocate of the lifters, especially when people put in their hard work in. Help the talent to earn what they deserve. Especially like again, as I said, what happened to Bryce to me, oh, I'm still fuming about it. I'm just a mate to him. I talk to him every now and then, but when I saw it, I'm still pissed off about it. But I'm thinking like, what the fuck? It doesn't make sense. Set one process for people to follow rather than having these multiple processes across the board. Don't get me wrong. You need to send your best team to the world championship. You need to, your strongest team. We said earlier, it's people that work hard for this shit. They sacrifice time for this crap. You can't just create a process that is so disabled and then you expect people to just like, okay, that's fine, I agree. No, no, to me, nationals. Everyone meet at the nationals, you compete, the winners get qualified straight. We end there. That's what I believe. You know?
Yeah, it was so chaotic this year because they decided um we didn't have nationals this year essentially because they were supposed to they're scheduled for the fall. So because of that, for those listening, they just kept adding meets that you could qualify from. So originally it was I qualified for World based on nationals in 2023, which were in March. So they were over a year and 2 months ago is the meet that I qualified for Worlds from, which is crazy. And
That's
then they added Easterns, Westerns, and Sheffield, obviously. That one's good. That makes sense. And I don't know what else. It was so confusing. And it was like piecemeal as well. So they added on Easterns at the very last second. So
that's
you didn't even, I don't think you even knew you could qualify for Worlds based on Easterns until the meet registration was already closed,
because
if
the
I'm not
West.
mistaken.
Yeah, the Western, it was clearly stated. I even watched the Western because, of course, Mandes was.
Yes, it was very clearly stated.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? Because all I'm saying, like, in Britain, we didn't have no national. Our national is in November. The World Championship is in June. But we have a meet in
Yeah.
December. We call it selection meet. So they invited everybody. They said, look, the selection is there. Go and post your biggest total as possible to be on that selection pool, to be selected for next year. At least that is a little bit clear and streamlined for everybody. But the Canadian one, I was just thinking, like, who's running this federation? Jesus Christ. But but it is what it is. Just you're on the team, you're going to World from your 2023 national total qualify. Congratulations, And anyone will be looking at that, anyone will be looking at thinking like, oh, look at just qualify for 565. Yes, that is not the Jess that you'll be facing in Lithuania.
True.
So I got last few questions for you. What message are you sending to the rest of the people that you're going to be competing against in Lithuania?
What message? Hmm.
And you can be honest, I told you this is a safe place.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
What message am I sending? Hmm, I got no message. We're staying mysterious this year.
Ooh, that's a message itself.
That's a message itself.
Mysterious. We stay mysterious. So everyone that's coming against Jess, you guys know Jess can pull the house. So train to make sure Jess doesn't pull that house. But if you load that house in front of Jess, you're fucked. Anyway, we all know that, and we've witnessed that. So yeah, I think I meant to ask you this question, right? I missed it earlier when we were talking about, of course, the US. Would you would you ever consider lifting for the US since now you live in the States?
So I don't live in the States. You can only it's like it's really hard to like move to the States and you can't I want to compete for Canada. But I know in order to compete for the States, you have to have at least a green card, if not dual citizenship. So it's not easy for sure.
So
It's not an easy country to just move to.
would you consider lifting for them if all of that were given?
Would I do it? Um,
Remember,
I still want to live for Canada, you know?
good,
Um, it'd be it's not like I wouldn't consider it, but I want to live for Canada.
good, good girl. Because if you told me that I'm gonna be lifting for the US, I would just turn this thing off and delete the recording. That's it, done. So that means you agree, you are 2.0. That's it.
Let's end the conversation.
Yeah. So would in terms of like because now where you live, would
Yeah,
you
no,
like next
I'm
year
very
now
happy
is
looking.
I mean like would you go back home for the nationals? Because if you have to qualify again next year for World 2025, you need to go for nationals. So you have to travel back to do your national in Canada.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. So, I'll go back home for nationals and um I'll still have to do all the normal qualifying things you have to do, and I'll do that so I can for Canada.
So I mean you mentioned here now you're doing your own programming now, everything yourself. Since you mentioned that, when I drop this, there will be people that will be asking, is she a coach now? Because you have a massive following on social media. So as soon as I just said I'm doing my own programming and I have got a 261.5 kilo deadlift, your DMs will be full of messages. Can you coach me? I'm sure you already get that. Are you a coach?
No, so that's part of coming to the States is you're not allowed to do work. Um, I wanted to maybe coach a little bit, but I'm I'm not. Long story short, I wanted to put out some programs or something like that, but I still just haven't done it. I'm lazy.
Someone that can put 261.5 is lazy. Wow,
Yes.
great. Fantastic. I mean, to be honest, the best heart liars, the strongest people on earth, you look at them thinking, do you even lift? I get people asking me if I lift weight. You know, I tell people how much
That's brutal.
people be like, bullshit, shut up. You don't squat that much. Look at your legs. I mean, black people were not blessed with legs, so with calves. So yeah. Anyway, that's the story right there. But anyway, Jess, it was great chatting to you. And again, as I said, I cannot wait in the next 7 weeks when I see you in Lithuania because I have got so many questions I'm gonna do on that face-to-face interview. Because a lot of things you say here
Nice. Sounds good.
so many questions. I mean, on the deadlift, on the celebration, on Canada being America 2.0, all those questions will come back, right? So, on that note, Jess, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you talking to me, getting the time to talk to me. And to all our listeners, guys, anyone that has a question for Jess or anything, send it to me and I'll relate to Jess or just reach out to Jess on our Instagram, on our DMs. I will just warn you guys, She has a massive following. Every single day, she probably get thousands of DMs. Don't expect her to just respond to all. If the response is not coming, reach out to me and I will try to get you a response for Jess. I'll try my best. I'm not saying she doesn't even respond to me. She's listening. She doesn't. But anyway, I will try my best to get you a response. So Jess, again,
You know
thank
what?
you.
I will say the DMs get weird.
Go on.
I was gonna say the DMs get weird. If you have lifting questions, just comment it on a video, and that's the easiest way for me to respond to questions.
You heard that, guys?
But
Comment on our
sorry,
video.
continue.
She'll respond to the question. So don't DM her, right? Because she's just gonna find some of you guys weirdos. Just like she funded me. She did find me a little bit weird when I messaged her. She was like, "Who is this? Okay, this guy is a lifter too." Oh. And then she went to my profile and saw that I was in South Africa. Oh, he was in South Africa as well. Okay, I'm gonna respond. Well, anyway, on that note, guys, speak to you soon.